Hey guys, welcome back. It's week 15. It's playoff time. Jason, how are you?
What's up?
Yeah, you're sitting pretty with a big smile on your face. Nice having that first week off of the playoffs.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if I put up a big old goose egg or not this week, does it?
Yeah, watch all your people blow up this week, get you all excited for next week, and then they'll get out there and lay an egg.
Normally
At least
does.
at least that's been my luck. So
But yeah, we're
no,
into the playoffs, man. We got I know Ball and myself got the bye weeks out of that. I was kind of watching that between him and the Warden, wondering how that was going to play out. But
I mean, it made me worry about the Warden a little bit after seeing how bad his performance was last week, and not that I mean it has anything to do with him. But just like, was that kind of a precursor to what's going to be coming up in the playoff? Well, I think he's pretty much shut me up on that thought process real quick last night with the way he's already started off this.
and everybody's had one of them games, where you just don't do anything right.
Yeah.
Maybe that was his week.
Yep. Seems like he's ready and poised to bounce back, and he's off to a good start already. So that's who we got. We got the Warden up against the Twin Bowers this week. What seed is that? That's the 4-7 or 3-7.
No, that would be 3-7
3-7.
or 3-6. We don't have a seven.
3-6. Oh yeah, six or not seven yet. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So 3-6, and then the 4-5. We got Justin Jefferson's battle or master class against Big Fish.
Yes, sir.
That'll be a pretty interesting game there.
Yeah, and that one's already started out, with another pretty good game out of Bijan there. So Dan's going to have to come this week with it.
Yeah, this is our take two on our on our opener. Trying to get this new platform kind of figured out. But one thing we did talk about in the previous recording was, it's kind of funny how it's been kind of an up and down season. I feel like a lot of down this season, really, for the most part. But gosh, we turn on the lights to the playoffs, and it seems like everybody comes out here ready to go. It's kind of wild how big names are ready to start putting up big points. So we'll see if it holds true all weekend.
Yeah, the other thing we're looking at is how to keep guys involved that are out of it. How can we find ways to keep playing these last few weeks with everybody? Whether it's a toilet bowl, whether it's some side bets,
Yep.
to come up with something. So
Yeah, and that's something that I think we're going to kind of dive into as the show moves on here. So we'll kind of break here for a minute, dude, and make sure everything's on the up and up on our end before we really get serious about kind of moving on for this week.
be right back.
Nice. Stick around, guys.
Starring actual real brothers Jason Spivey and his little brother Brandon.
All right, guys, welcome back. I think we've got everything figured out on our end. So we got the all clear over there to my producer.
Looking good so far. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in, man. We'll get to the kind of the dirty work of our league stuff first and foremost this week. So we'll focus on the first game we have up on the tab, which is Team Big Fish versus JJ's Masterclass, who obviously got off to a pretty good start with Bijan Robinson last night, throwing up a 32 spot.
Yeah, definitely a good game from him. Much needed game because he kind of dipped down there for a little bit. I know they made that trade moving him
Yeah.
from one to the other. He hasn't really played well to his numbers, his average numbers since then. And now playoff time, man, the lights are on.
Yeah. I mean, this also feels like a time where, I like the fact that he gets to roll with Judkins out there. And but it leads me to a question, and I have it, and it's going to go back to Gainwell. We know it's been the laughing joke of the season, the running gag, but I mean the numbers support him to be in that lineup. He's still, even if it feels like he's kind of coming off a down week or two, dude, he's still holding the number 25 spot um, as far as running backs go, dude, and he's not even in his flex, and that's what makes me question why he's not there. And he's got that Rodriguez. So I mean, do you see something there with Rodriguez that makes him want to put him there, like that I'm just
Well,
missing?
I don't know if he's just playing the numbers game, the Dan game that we call it, where you're just looking at the what ESPN thinks might happen. I mean, my thought on this, yeah, they're playing the Giants, and the Giants have given up a lot of running back points. But it could be Rodriguez. It could be one of the other guys on that team. It's
That's
not
kind of
like
my
it's a true one there.
that's kind of my point. It's like he finally got to a position to be able to just kind of trust the body of work that Gainwell has at least been, again, like, I guess something that we haven't been able to dive into. And maybe that's how we probably should have started this show, really, was with our EA point system that we just fucking established.
Well, yeah, but even
Because
besides that, it was. I mean, you know, not
it's
only
going to
is
give a
like
lot of credibility to why Gainwell should be in a flex right now. Because really, all you should be asking yourself is, can that guy get me? I think we set that number around 10 or 11 points.
yeah,
Is kind of what you should be asking for a return if you put a guy in a flex. And I feel like Gainwell's a lock.
and I think at best Rodriguez is going to give you that 10 to 14 points at
That's
best.
my point. That's my point. Yeah. So
So you're
that,
you're,
that's
you're
that's a
wanting
question I have.
you're wanting an okay or almost a bad performance to still get you 10 in that spot, especially in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah. So it does kind of make me wonder there too. And then as I look over on Dan's side, and I'm not really gonna say right or wrong here, man, because these are just tough decisions and these are playoff decisions. So these are what's going to separate winners and losers. And it's not that I have a guy that I feel like maybe he should be in for, but I kind of wonder, should he be out on Travion Henderson this week?
Well, I mean,
I
Henderson,
get
yeah, I mean, it's not been. I mean, when Stevenson came back, he lost. He didn't have the full load,
right.
so you're doing that committee, and then where do you put him in at? Probably with flex. Robinson, he's been a solid all week, all year, really. After Neighbors went down, that one's kind of they're a toss up to me. But I think that Henderson has the bigger upside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at some of Henderson's numbers, dude. He hasn't been below like he hasn't been under 10 carries in a game since all the way back to week 7.
Yeah, I mean, even in the last 2 weeks where he had, you know,
Relatively no low numbers,
I mean, so
the
13
usage
to
is
12, which
the
is below
usage is
that
still
10
there.
targets. Yeah.
The
So yeah,
usage is still there.
his bad week is 12.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that's, I mean, I guess maybe I'm not looking into Wandell so much I mean, I guess, he's valid. Dude's 15 ranked. So I guess he just kind of shut me up right there.
yeah, like I said, that was kind of a 50-50 ball for me. Maybe he
Well,
just
dude,
liked the one matchup over the other.
I mean, overall season, dude, I mean, his numbers say he's a top end wide receiver too.
Yeah, but what you see on his game log is a lot of single digit games. So
Yeah.
it's 20
It's,
or 8.
yeah. I got what
So
you're saying there.
where Henderson, he's been that steady, basically since he started playing, getting reps, he's been double digits every time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and plus with his upside, you lean that way because he could turn into 25 points real easy. Where I think Robinson, he can do 25, but it's kind of hit or miss on him.
Yeah, I agree. So where you at here, man? Like, I think we've kind of dove down these numbers or dove down these rosters a little bit. One thing real quick before we kind of pick a winner here, man, I want to talk about Joe Burrow for a second. Have you seen any kind of story, dude? I swear I read one the other day where he's contemplating kind of like how long he wants to play the sport.
I don't know if it was the questioning what it was with him. He's kind of gave that, like I'm going to play. It's only worth playing if I'm having fun. When the teams are losing as bad as that team is losing, they're not having any fun. Being injured, no fun. I don't know if that's just, he's maybe wanting out of there. If he's
I
really
mean,
thinking, or if he's going to be the next Andrew Luck and
that's what I was going to say, dude. It sounds an awful lot like Andrew Luck because that's how that conversation started with him.
yeah,
And when it goes back to how much time, these guys are being hit so much, and Burrow's been spending a lot of time on the injury report for the last few years, dude. It's like, how long is he going to let himself just get beat to oblivion?
yeah. I mean, they have never protected him. I mean, they keep.
Yeah.
I mean, they put their money in, the White House and him. One guy on defense gets all the money, so they got to score 40-something points a game.
Right.
And then once those receivers are in and out of the lineup, it makes it difficult. So
Yeah, it'd just be an interesting thing if there's any kind of leverage there as far as
maybe
if he's
Tank
going
want to try to get out of there to see what's all available to him. Who knows what's really going on there? But
Yeah, just thought that was an interesting story, something I'll be kind of keeping an eye on as obviously the offseason kind of rolls around. But anyway, so what are you thinking here, man? ESPN's got this pretty close.
yeah, but I think they tightened it up a little bit because of Bijan's game. I think Dan still has the firepower here. When you talk about the flex position, he's got the advantage. Tight end, I think he's got the advantage. Receivers, he's got the advantage. And if they could just split at running back, which very well still could happen.
Yeah, I actually think I actually think JJ's got a big advantage at running back. I think that 32 makes it to where it's going to be a pretty lopsided thing. I think it's going to help shrink the difference in the receivers.
Yeah, and that's true as long as Judd can put up an okay game.
And I can see that happen. I mean, I can see,
But I could also see Dan's receiver blowing out, JJ's receivers and Trump
and kind of washing the whole thing out, and that's kind of where I'm at. So then I start thinking down a little bit further, and I'm starting to think like, I do like the tight end and flex being the big difference here, and I think I am going to go. I do kind of like where ESPN's at on this. I think this is going to end up being a pretty close game. I think Dan does pull it off, though. I think it might end up being Wan'Dale Robinson, believe it or not.
That very well could be, or the lack of Gainwell could be what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like oddly enough, it's funny that's what's going to be like. I can't wait till shit like that happens too, where stuff we've been talking about all season.
5 points and have Gainwell 5 points better on flex.
Don't let it happen, JJ. I'm coming. I'm taking receipts. They will be in that week's video. I'm telling you what.
So we're both going big fish on that one. So we'll see what happens, man.
Good luck, man.
We'll be right back.
All right, we're back. We're ready to dive into the next game. It looks like it's Twin Bowers versus the Warden. And we kind of touched on it earlier. Let you touch on where the Warden's at already.
Yeah, 46 out of Pitts. I mean, at a position that Drew should have an advantage on when you're kind of ranking it position by position, Bowers over Pitts any day, except for this week. 46. He probably scored 46 points all year and then puts up a 46 in a week.
So I'm looking here, and I mean, I want to rag on him. This 46 is going to put him up he's going to be the number 2 ranked tight end right now. That makes a lot of sense because of how, I mean, going back a few videos ago when you talked about how close 2 to 19 was, you can understand why he's in the 2 position after throwing up a 46 spot. But I mean, I will say he's got a lot of double-digit games up there. But dude, 1 touchdown on the season. Prior to that,
the crazy thing is actually his last 2 games before this were 15 and 15. So
yeah,
horrible for tight end.
No, I mean, he's like the volume's been there, the yards have been there, but gosh, what a time for him to. I can remember us having a conversation. When we were golfing or maybe going to what that Pacer game or whatever it was, but Scott talking about how down he was on Pitts. And kind of feeling like the dude's just never going to happen. I think Pitts just changed Scott's entire impression on Pitts forever in 1 game.
Well, I think the thing that benefited him more than anything was Kirk Cousins.
Probably. Man,
Kirk Cousins, he knows how to check the ball down or go to that option. And, I mean, you look at some of the tight ends of the past that he's had. I mean, Hawkinson becoming somebody.
Yeah, but they threw him in there a couple games ago, and he was absolutely dog water.
Yeah, but I'm going to say the one thing that he's going to be good at is checking that ball down.
Yeah, getting rid of it. I get that. So, that's just a great way to start. Obviously for him, I mean, in a position where, you feel like he was definitely not going to have the advantage. So kind of doing a little breakdown here, position by position. What are you thinking?
I think it's kind of a washer at the quarterback position.
Do you like that? Like you asked me about Drew and his decision here on Purdy and Nix and kind of what's up there. I mean, I explained it, but like, where do you like that decision?
Yeah, I don't mind that decision at all. I just know that he's been riding Nix all year long and then picks up Purdy after the injury.
Right.
But drafted Nix as that guy too, so he kind of rode with him, and now maybe he's realizing.
It's like he kind of peaked. That offense for whatever in Denver just they seem to peak early in the season. They just haven't seemed to getting any better. And I think, Purdy coming back and seeing like an immediate spark back into that 49ers offense was like, all right, this is kind of going to be my guy.
Yeah, and it looks like even with Nix, I mean, all the good games he had were, week 7 and earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
He's hit 20s one time, single digits one time, 11s and 15s and 15s and 17s. And for a guy that was in the 20s, average wise early in the season, he really dropped off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for the fact that Drew had kept him, I almost bet he probably would have cut him weeks ago. But I think I think he was just kind of like his pride wouldn't let him do that.
Well, a lot of people get caught up in that. I drafted that guy for people just don't make trades because of that. That's the guy I'm
Right.
sticking with. I mean,
No,
hell,
I
he got
get it.
stuck with Pitts for this long.
No shit, man. Like about time he's getting some reward out of it. That's what I said.
But
Yeah,
we
so
were kind of talking a second ago. Drew's got Tyrone in there.
yeah, I mean, like he asked me about that last night. I don't know that he's really dead set that that's going to be that he's going to be there come Sunday. I haven't gotten any kind of confirmation yet. I still felt like the play should be Warren here. Same thing kind of we talked about with Gainwell. We've talked about it, you almost feel like you gotta kind of trust the body of work. If you're talking about a player that has this late in the season stayed in the top 24, that's to me a valid reason for him to be playing in the playoffs.
Surprisingly enough, that's one of those teams that gets inside the red zone and runs the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They'll pass the ball up and down the field, but when they get down there to score, they try to run it in.
Yeah, and that's like
want to do that play action pass and throw everything in.
Yeah, and that's like it's easy to see, like, oh yeah, Gainwell takes a lot from him, but when they get into those positions, usually when Gainwell gets his touchdowns, it's third down because he's the third down guy. That means Jalen Warren's already had 2 cracks at it.
Right.
Not that he gets to carry every first and second down, but you know what I'm saying.
So a goal to go situation, he's going to get 1 or 2 tries at it before.
Oh, always. I've watched it firsthand. It's like he may not get it, and usually that's when Gainwell comes in and gets his. But yeah, I mean,
really evident when you see those receivers, with Metcalf and them guys. They don't have a lot of touchdowns this year, and it's a winning team that's scoring points. They're doing it with those running backs. So
right,
Gainwell's kind of been surprising.
He really has, but like I said, I mean, it's surprising for Gainwell, but it's also surprising that Warren has still maintained at least some sort of fantasy relevance while being bolstered. Dude, he's still sitting in 19th in the fantasy rankings. Like again, what I don't understand why we're benching players that have done nothing to be benched. Jason, how many? Don't look yet.
I already got it. 0.
What?
0 single-digit games.
0 single-digit games this entire season, and he just got benched.
I know where you're getting ready to go with it.
Huh?
Yeah, he has not scored under 10 in a game this season.
And when you're going into the playoffs, what's your like? So I guess to me, and this is maybe where everybody's different, dude. And I'm not a playoff team, so I don't get to have to think about this. But if you're a playoff team, are you going into it where you want to? I'm reaching. I want to hit the home run with every position, or do you want to get your solid 130 up there and hope that's good enough?
All right, so I got to. This is a good example with this game of how I would play this. On Scott's side, I'm wanting those consistent point scorers. They're going to hit their averages. They're not going to hit the big blow up numbers. They're not going to lay those eggs. But on Drew's side, I think he has to go with some of those home run hitters. Just being in, where he ranked in there, where he normally been scoring and what Scott's been scoring. So,
yeah,
I could see on Drew's side trying to, find lightning in a bottle. And then, like I said, if I was Scott, I'm just trying to, get those average points out of everybody. I want everybody to do what they're supposed to.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. And that's, I mean, I guess that's where, everybody gets to kind of have it their own way. I still, again, I try to, I guess if it's me, I would rather go into it just trying to trust the steady Eddie.
Right.
And to avoid the 90-point week would be my thing. I think that would be my fear. And that's my fear when you start gambling on who, not trusting the body of work, but you're trying to gamble on who's hot or not.
And
And
I
yeah,
think
that's what.
even more so with Scott putting up that 46 points that, Drew might need to, when it comes to making some of his decisions before game time, say, hey, who can hit the
Sure.
home run?
Shall we ask him?
Shall
Are
we?
you? Yeah. Are you locked in on Jalen Warren being benched over Tyrone Tracy?
No, I'm not. One of them's not locked at all.
So he feels like he's not. He's playing around right now. He's not locked in. Like I said, he was asking me about this last night. I don't know that he's realized what we just said, and I know he didn't hear us say it, that Jalen Warren has not scored single digits this entire season.
No, I said he hasn't been in 10.
Okay. So he knows it. So we'll see what he does, but I'm going to anticipate a change there. And that being said, was that
And on the flip side of that, Tyrone's last 4 games: a 10, a 20, a 19, and a 6. So basically,
yeah, I mean, it's like he's feast or famine. It has to all be on the cards for him. They got to pretty much be down on everybody else. Singletary's got to be banged up. You know what I mean? Like he's got to be the guy, or he's just not reliable enough.
right, and that's one of those things. If Singletary comes in and busts a 20-yarder, there goes half of Tyrone's carries the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Yeah. So I'm going to assume there's going to be a change there. And then when I look at kind of just a dual comparison running back to running back, I'm not going to have Scott necessarily running away with it. I see it's hard to visualize it right now with Tracy sitting there, but I think Jalen Warren becomes more comparable to Genty, and I like Kyron matched up against H-An.
Yeah, I don't think Kyron's quite H-An though.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is in the volume that they give him. But just hoping that they're going to be in a track meet.
Especially now that Corum seems to just be vulturing a few more carries every game there.
Yeah.
And
I think that was a number
of those teams that it could be Kyron, it could all be Adams, it could all be Puka.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know where that's going to go with them.
Yeah, and same thing. I mean, we're talking about a cut into a guy's workload, but still has a pretty heavy workload. We're still talking about a guy who's getting 15 touches plus per game.
Now, the wideout matchup, I think, is just dead heat.
I do too. I really do too.
Versus Chase, and then you got Tet and Waddle.
I like Tet. I think I like Tet a little bit more than Waddle.
I see what you're saying there, but when you're thinking about that, you're almost, if you're you tier guys together, all those guys are in the same tier together.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tight one, dude.
Yeah. So, and then obviously Pitt's having that little bit of a advantage right now, but typically we'd have gave that to Bowers. But Bowers could eat into that pretty easy.
I could see him eating into it. I don't know how close he's going to get, but my goodness, I mean, and then you look right down there in the flex position. I think it's still the kind of same conversation where they're pretty much a dead heat. Maybe Breece Hall has a little bit of an advantage there, the way AJ Brown's been playing lately.
Yeah, but that could go 50-50 there either way, because Breece Hall could just lay an egg too, just as much as Devontae Smith could because of AJ Brown. But one thing I will say about say Bowers has a good game and kind of can ease into what Pitts did. What that does on the other side is it takes from Genty. So
yes,
that's something to watch there on what Vegas does as far as who's going to get the ball this week.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. And I mean, they got a questionable tag, or I mean, Scott's also got a questionable tag there next to H, and I don't know how serious that is.
Every week.
Does he? I don't pay enough attention. So, yeah, I mean, I think really it's gonna come down to, and it kind of makes this a hard one to pick because I have it being a close game from the outset, and I don't know how this 46 influences that.
I think that 46 does make a pretty big difference, though.
Yeah, it kind of has to, doesn't it?
I mean, when we talk about an average tight end scoring
13,
14 points, and he got 46, that's a big advantage right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're talking about
Drew has no shot at all on that at all, but I just think it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be right there with you. If I have to say, if I had this as a 10-point game or less, which I probably did going into it, and we'll just say for the sake of argument that I was going to have Drew as the winner at 10 points. That right there means, can Brock Bowers score 36 to account for the difference in my head that I had going into it? And I don't think he can. I gotta go with Scott
But
here.
I think if he gets into the 25, it makes it interesting.
It very well could.
Just because
We-
of not only what getting the 25, but it also takes from Genty.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, I want to be able to pull for Drew on this one, honestly, dude. I think the guy needs some good luck. He's had a run of bad luck here lately.
In reality, I don't expect either one to have a big game from Vegas going against Philly defense.
Yeah, I don't necessarily either, but I actually hope that Drew's able to get guys hot and they just kind of have a good little shootout here.
Yeah,
Kind
you want something
take
interesting?
take it into Monday night because they're gonna have some. You're gonna have Bowers or not Bowers. You're gonna have Achane Monday night.
Oh yeah.
So like
CD Lamb on Sunday night. Yeah, so
yeah,
they're going to take it a
you
lead
got
all throughout the weekend.
Yeah, you got Waddle and Achane on Monday night, so it'll be nice if they were, if there's actually something on the line there.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. So, but I got to go with the Warden as it sits right now. If we would have recorded this yesterday before the game was over, like we normally would, I'm probably picking Drew.
Yeah, I'm going with Scotty on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout or anything like that. I think Drew's got some work to do, but I think
I agree
on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can do it. I just can't. I can't solidly predict that.
Right on, man. So we'll get back and give you some delightful banter from the Real Brothers.
Sounds good, man. We'll be back in a few. All right, we're back. We're going to kind of dive into some kind of new things we've been talking about, thinking about, maybe some new directions. Kind of want to maybe start kind of opening this up to the group. So, Jason, maybe we kind of want to lead us into some ideas we've been talking about, or maybe some directions.
Well, we've kind of got a lot of things we've talked about over the years. We want to try to start getting some of this stuff out. Get into some comments from everybody on how they feel about some things, some changes we might want to make, whether it's simple things like points, how many playoff teams we have. I know we've talked about divisions, and I know we've kind of talked offside about how I feel about the divisions and just what it does behind the scenes, make things difficult. But not only that is trying to find ways to keep people involved, what to do when people aren't setting their lineups. How can we, instead of a team tanking to get that first pick, do we do something where a guy has to earn the first pick? Just a lot of that stuff we want to start getting out there because now it's fresh in our minds. We can make some decisions these next few weeks that we can implement next draft day. So.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of a great kind of segue here. And if you don't mind, man, if we could take a few minutes and maybe we can just kind of start individually going through this kind of some of the things you just talked about. It'd be great to get some of this stuff on camera because obviously we always talk about we want feedback in the group text or any kind of just group feedback from the league in general, which we don't get a whole lot of, and that's something we'll continue to ask for and work on. But if nothing else, just to have this on video recording so we don't lose track of it, because I think you kind of touched on it there with while it's fresh in our mind. I think that's what tends to happen is we don't make the proper fantasy decisions when it's fresh in our mind. We do it when we're ready to start up for next year. And all anybody wants to do at that point is just draft a team. They're not worried about the other stuff. They just want to pick players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're so hyped up for the football season. That's what they want to get into. So
Yeah, they don't want to do the
now's
ins and
the
outs.
time to discuss some things. After our Super Bowl, we'll make those decisions. And then at some point, we got to, we're turning the page to next year.
Yep. So that being said, I guess if maybe we could just kind of I'll just bring up a topic here and we'll just kind of dive into it for a minute. So one of those is going to be participation. So I would like to start getting confirmation of next year on who's back in. I don't want to be looking for a new team a week before the draft if somebody's not going to play next year. So we need to know who's going to participate next year, but we need to address participation in week in and week out, and kind of what we can and should do. And I know you've had some thoughts, and I do as well. So I'll let you kind of take it away for a second.
Well, in all fairness, you start the season and you play against a guy and he's going and he's setting his lineup. And then you get to the end of the season and maybe the guy you're battling in the playoff with has to play this same guy, and he's got a bye week in there. It's some guys that's been on or IR for a week or two, something like that. Is that in all fairness to hey the competition itself? So one of the things that I've always talked about into that when you're talking about people going on vacation, maybe forgetting to sell a lineup, whether it's they're just not paying any attention. You got guys in there for bye weeks of doing an override, and what the override would be. My theory was, we look at these rankings every day. Everybody's paying attention to what ESPN thinks is going to happen in the game. If we feel like a team is not setting or not setting the lineup, abandoning the lineup, whatever it is, not doing their job, we can go in as a league and set that lineup based on what ESPN thinks, not what you think or what I think. What ESPN thinks, it's somebody not affiliated with the league, so the best lineup available. Now, what can happen there though is say the guy's only got one quarterback and he's on a bye. There's obviously nothing we can do there. We're not going to go and pick up somebody off the street for him. But if he has a player on his bench that we could put in there instead of that bye, especially for the bye week stuff, those last minute scratches are one thing. But if the guy's on IR, the guy's on bye, something like that, we go in there and the best available to fill that position.
Yeah.
What
So
ESPN thinks.
yeah, and I think this is going to be a great reason why we need to have an in-person draft this next season, because we're going to need to have these conversations in person because I don't think these can happen in the group text with this group, unfortunately. Um, but I agree with exactly what you're saying. I want to give an idea that supports your theory there on okay, yeah, there needs to be an override system. I would like to throw an option out there just so maybe give guys an idea of an idea, and that would be that instead of it being what you said in the top ESPN, I don't want it to be an advantage for the guy that didn't get to set his lineup by putting the best player available. I think it should be. I think it should. I think it should be on the bench. You look at his bench, and it is per position. So whatever the available player that or position that needs to be filled of any players that fit that bill on his bench, it's the lowest rated one goes into the lineup.
Yeah, and that's fine too. It doesn't matter to me how we come up with a active player. I just want to have a system in place that takes care of one, uh, a buy that somebody's just not paying attention to their lineup or abandoning a lineup because who says that hey, week 10 next week I'm all the way out of it. Do I just keep setting a lineup?
Right.
So there needs to be some kind of override if that happens.
So I agree there. So my question is in return to, like on the flip side of it, okay, so is it going to be on a team's first offense? It's automatic for anybody that ever encounters this. And if it's automatic anytime anybody ever encounters it from the first time they do it, is there a certain number of times that happens before they're going to be facing some sort of other penalty?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to spell it out on how we're going to do it. I think a buy should be automatic. Um, I mean, months in advance what buys are going to be.
Yeah.
So I think the buy should be an automatic. I think if a guy's designated like an IR a week before, it should be an automatic. Now, obviously, stuff happens that week that, hey, I've got a guy in my lineup, he might be playing. Those we stay away from.
Yeah.
But, somebody that's definitely, hey, we know this guy has been injured for a week or he's on IR or whatever that case is. And then the buys were automatic because, but then again, what you're going to find out too is that's not always going to be able to happen. Say you only carry one defense, they're on buy.
Yeah.
They're on buy, but at least we're given a fair competition for
Yeah, it's a
everybody.
fighter's chance. And I mean, and if nothing else, and we could kind of probably end it there and just kind of let it be what it is for now to start the conversation because we're not going to be able to make the decision right now. And I think we've given the guys that are watching a couple of ideas of how, so hopefully they can kind of take it and run with it and kind of be prepared for the next time we're all ready to have this conversation. That's kind of what we hope to bring to you guys right now.
Yeah, and as we're talking about some of these ideas or changes, if you're playing in other leagues, I know a lot of guys do. If something's working out really well in another league, let us know about it. Hey, our league does this when we have a team abandonment, or our league does this when a guy's not setting his lineup,
Yeah.
or this is what we do on points or something like that. I mean, just what
Yeah.
seems like it's working well for you out there.
So that being said, I also had talked about and just a different kind of, I guess, override system or whatever, different kind of way to address the abandonment issues, whether it be weekly or whatever, is I had talked about a possible fining system. And I'm also not opposed to that because, I feel like we're creating a league that people want to still be involved in. And like you don't want to get kicked out of the league. I think and if we can implement some things to, like if you're gonna do this, it's gonna charge you this much to do it. And if you do it this many times, you're out of the league to show that we don't really want to have to handle things like this. We don't want to be setting somebody's lineup based off ESPN projection because, somebody just got in the habit of us doing it. You know
Well,
what
the
I'm
other
saying?
thing that we could do is even go with the first time we give it to you, the second time you're out,
Kind of that's kind of what I mean. It's
or
like,
something,
yeah,
or a fine system or something like that. But what can we do to keep it from happening in the league?
yeah. So it's an issue, and it's an issue I want to address as a group before the next season. So I think we could probably move on from there. That being said, some point situations, let's talk about a couple point things. Maybe this will again start the conversation for people to understand kind of what we're talking about. I don't think anybody looks into the numbers enough to know how our scoring system works, but we have a couple technicalities that we need to address. And we can't address it until everybody knows about it and is voting on it. So I think we need to start by shining some light on some of the issues we have, Jason. I know you brought up a couple.
Yeah, I know one big one we have is some of the bonus point things that we do. There's a bonus point I think on a 40-yard play, and then again on a 50-yard play.
Yep.
The thing about the 50-yard play is it keeps the 40-yard bonus in there. It don't override. So
Mhm.
where we gave 1 point for 40 and then 2 points for 50, it basically turns the 50 into a 3 point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we almost need to do something where we scale that 50 back to just 1 point and 1 point from the
And
40.
that was like, so just to shed some light, and I know I told you, but for everybody else watching, whenever I set the league and the scoring, it didn't specify how that would work. And that's exactly the way I wanted it. I wanted it to just be 2 points when you got to the
Yeah.
50-yard bonus. So what you're saying is exactly what needs to happen is we just need to remove 1 point from that 50.
Yeah.
Um, and then
So as you look through some of your scorings from this year, I mean, there's got to be is there something else that we're missing out there that's similar to that? I know that yardage thing being one on long range touchdowns.
I think we're getting to a point where we're giving too much to kickers. I'm okay with giving kickers bonus points, but the extra point is 38 yards now. Okay,
Well,
we're
I think
giving kickers bonus points at 40, I believe 40 yards. It needs to be 50 and more. I need to get rid of the 40-yard bonus. I
yeah,
think there's
and do we
40.
penalize a kicker at all for missed?
There's a -1, but like my intentions were going to be a -1 for any missed field goal. I was going to do no penalty for anything over 55.
Yeah, so, I mean, my thing is there at
And
least
then
for the extra point
I
should
was
be a
going to
bigger
do,
one.
I wanted to do -2 for an extra point. I just left it at -1 because you couldn't differentiate between an extra point and field goal. That's why there's no penalty for missing an extra point because there's no designation when you set the scoring through ESPN's
Yeah,
app.
that 40 yard in the end, whether it's an extra point or missed field goal, should be negative, in my opinion. No bonus over 40.
Yeah, no bonus over 40. I'm okay with 1 point bonus over 50, a 2 point bonus over 60.
Yeah.
And maybe we
Have
add,
a 3 point over 70.
and that's what, and I think we can throw it out there because I think it's probably gonna happen next year or by next year where somebody hits a 70-yarder. May as well have something out there for it. So I think that needs to happen. But the problem is why I couldn't put the bone or the penalty too high. I didn't want to make it more than -1 is because that penalty still carries if you miss the 70-yarder
Yeah, I would only want the negative, like
on closer field goals or extra points. That was the problem. And that's why I didn't like it. That's why I had to set it that way. I'll look at it again and
see what the
see if there.
options are.
Yeah, but that was always the difference, and that's why we always preferred CBS Sportsline for fantasy
Yeah, because you
football.
could customize everything there.
Yeah, but that's a pay-for-play app, so that's why we use ESPNs, and that's the difference. So that's kind of where we're at there. But yeah, so there's a few things to think about, guys. If you know of anything else that stuck out to you, please let us know.
Yeah. Now the other thing that we've kind of talked about recently has been, playoff teams, number of playoff teams. Um, we're using the old NFL format of 6 from the NFC or AFC in. Two of those used to be buys. We it was set up basically mirrored the old what the NFL used to do. Since then, the NFL went to one team getting a buy and another team getting in. That gives you 7 teams in, 5 teams out. The only thing, and this year I don't see any issues with it. The only thing that I kind of express concerns about is, does it open the door for somebody under 500 to get in? Because I think you got to be 500 or better to be in the playoffs.
So I'm pretty sure the history is going to
Yeah, I don't
support
really
that.
care the numbers of whether there's 6, 7, 8, but when you get into obviously when you get into 7 and 8, you start making the season a little, scheduling starts to come into effect a little bit.
So I would like to get this part on camera for these guys as far as my stance on this. I know I've kind of touched and alluded on it in the group text, and I've never really fully clarified it. My intentions are to get this thing to 7 teams, and in doing so, removing one of the playoff buys. That was my first intention in wanting to add another team. I'm all for giving more people opportunities to play later in the season. That's all well and good. It wasn't so much about adding the 7th team for me, why it made sense. It's more about getting that second bye week. And the reason I had an issue with it is because, we're in a 12-team league where 6 teams make the playoffs, and 2 of those teams get to sit out the first week. That's a third of the teams that make the playoffs don't even play in the first week of the playoffs. I don't think that's appropriate. So I feel I'm okay with the 1 seed having a bye. I feel like there should be one bye in a small league like this, and I think that's earned and rewarded. You know what I mean? But I also feel like we gave one too many. I want to get that second bye off of there. Easiest way to do that is to add the 7th team, and I think that's just a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, plus we're looking at week 15 in the NFL, and we've got 4 teams in our league playing fantasy football out of 12.
Yeah, and if we just add the 1 team, we're talking 1 team that jumps to 6. Half the team's playing. You still got one person sitting in a bye waiting to play. And then what we want to try to figure out to do with the other 5 teams is some sort of, which we'll discuss here in a few minutes, on some kind of like secondary tournament and things like that.
Yeah, so definitely, I am interested on seeing what some of those numbers are on 7. Maybe we can look back on a couple of years worth of us playing and saying, okay, if the 7 seed, because the only thing that I would like to avoid in that is, like I said, a below 500 team getting in.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this year would be 500, and I'm almost certain last year would be 500. And I'll go back and look though. I'm pretty sure I can see last year's.
And on the other side of things, 7 teams doing it that format does not change the overall complexity of scheduling. I know we kind of talked behind the scenes.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind taking that for a second, I'm gonna pull up that last year's stats real quick while you talk about that. What we were talking about with the whole new division types conversations.
So I know a lot of you guys been playing fantasy football for a long time. I don't know how many people have got into managing the leagues and know what's all involved in that. The beauty of our format with the three divisions of four and the number of games that we have, it takes a lot of the scheduling conflicts out. You know, you play your division twice. You play absolutely everybody in the league once, and then we go to playoffs. And then, so whenever you're tiebreaker, you know, everybody's got the same strength of schedule. I play in another league where it's just a 1 through 12 format, no divisions, nothing like that. Every year there's a three-way tie for that last playoff spot. And the team that gets put out always has a legitimate gripe because, oh, I didn't get to play that guy, or I only got to play that guy once and he beat the other guy twice. So you don't want to get into those scheduling conflicts. That's the beauty of the three divisions, the way we're set up. You play in your division twice, you play everybody else once. Tiebreakers are easy to figure out. We run the whole length of the season all the way up with the exclusion of week 18. The good thing about that is week 18, 4 or 5 teams every year start half of their starters. Most of those guys are on these Super Bowl teams because they're the winning teams for the season.
Yeah.
And then you're playing our Super Bowl, pulling backups who's never even thrown a pass or caught a pass or making game-winning plays to win our Super Bowl.
Yeah. And it's just so easy to make sense of what we do. You can explain it, you can understand it, you can always know where you're at, what's coming. There's no randomness to it. It's randomly not random.
Yeah, so yeah, there's no randomness at all to it, and you always had that gripe. I had the head-to-head against him. He beat me. Okay, enough said right there. He beat me, or I beat him,
Yeah.
or I went 2-0 in my division, and you went 0-2 in your division. I mean, there's
Yeah.
always just cut and dry. The
So
schedule is easy. Everything.
I was looking over, this stuff and I didn't catch it. Was you able to talk about how that's kind of been a fiasco in your other league?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Every year, there's 3 teams playing for our last playoff spot, and one guy's out, and he might have 2 wins over another guy, but he's out because it takes away that head-to-head tiebreaker when one team played each other twice and the other team only played each other once.
Yeah.
It's every year there's a fight in that league over it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Dan sent like that idea, this is immediately what jumped into my head is like, I could already hear the problems on the back end of that schedule. Well, he beat me and I lost to him, it's just nothing against Dan. I mean, it's just so difficult to do that. We're not a college football ranking, I mean, we can't just, that's what he would be getting us to is where we're just going to be voting people in.
Yeah, because it's going to look like some of the tiebreakers that we're going to come out and say, well, this is what the tiebreakers, and there's always going to be the guy. Well, I think the tiebreaker should have went this way.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all like what we're going to do is actually a tweak, man, and I think it's a tweak for the better. It fixes a problem and gives another opportunity. I got the numbers for you here. The 500 backs it up for the duration of our league on this website, which is 2 years previous.
Yep.
So we're good to go.
Sweet. Yeah. Then I mean, I was thinking that was the only hiccup I would ever have on that. I don't know what everybody else seems to think about it, but
I mean, and that's fair enough. And it's right there, though. I mean, it's right there. It's 500 is that 7 seed. I mean, you're going to kind of, it's kind of held true to form for 3 years straight now. So oddly enough, we have Mark Johnson who's finished last. This is the second time in 3 years finishing last.
I think he's good at it.
Yeah, I think he's looking for a buyout.
I still think Cheryl should just take over that team.
No kidding. You might not be kidding there. So that being said, dude, I think that's kind of maybe a good little time to dive into right after the schedule. You kind of talk about why we leave week 18 open.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
for fantasy players. I mean,
It absolutely is. But like, I like the idea that you and I talked about earlier today off camera about, again, coming up with these new ideas and just a way to again start a conversation is you talk about just making, everybody throwing $5 extra in week, week 18 becomes a $60 pot where everybody plays against each other and a high score wins.
yeah, it's a battle royal. The team that scores the highest wins, or the team that scores the two highest win, or something, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
There. But yeah, everybody throws in $5. Throws $60 pot in there.
and
Everybody
everybody
does it
ends their
until the last
fantasy
week, make whatever
season on the same day.
Yeah, and it just gives us something else to do to
Yeah.
watch football that last week.
Yeah.
And then not only that is we've talked about what can we do with those bottom 5 teams, bottom 6 teams to keep them active. Hey, they're done with fantasy football; they're just watching now. So, and to avoid people tanking for the season.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to lose on purpose so I can get that first round or that first overall pick or second overall pick. So, you see it in basketball all the time where they start sitting people.
Mhm.
So they talk about all the time. So it's like, do we, come up with a solution for that? Do we go to a toilet bowl playoff that gives you the first pick?
Yeah, so that's something I actually like it where it's like you play for your choice.
Yeah.
Like if you win the toilet bowl
Some people
tournament,
don't want the first pick.
exactly. If you're the winner of the toilet bowl tournament, you get your choice of pick 1 through 6.
Or 1 through 5 if we go to 7.
Oh yeah, 1 through 5. Yeah, yeah. If we were to go to 7, yeah, and then yeah, in a 5-team bracket, obviously the highest seed available going into that would get the bye week.
Yeah, but just something to keep them guys involved,
Yeah.
playing for something, not just tanking out the second half of the season, keeping the competition level up.
Hmm.
Just something else to do in the league. I mean, the more we play, the better we get at it. So the more fun we have.
Yeah, and I mean, Mark even talked about
Like I said, we got 4 teams playing this week.
yeah, and I think what I would like to do is something that you and I have also talked about, and this goes back a few weeks, but is I want to do where we create an overall side pot. So we raise our fee to say 60 or $75, and we take the extra money and we put it in a different pot, and we use that to do different weekly games all season long, to where we're just constantly having payouts every week, and it changes every
The
week.
team that's even in last place has something to do that week or something to play.
Yeah, and it's not always just who scored the most points. We come up with just new things, but we set it at the start of the season where it's like, 1 week it might be highest ranking kicker gets $10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Anything, yeah.
The week 7 is the tight end week where, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? We can come up with all kinds of really cool and fun ways. Best bench week, who's got the best bench? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do some side bets and stuff like that. So what that would be is the $50 original fee would go to obviously what they've always gone to, and then either the extra $10 or extra $25 a team then becomes, hey, let's do this week and have a little side game. Let's do something. So yeah, it keeps everybody involved. It keeps some fun things happening through the league.
And I would
And
actually,
you're always involved in something. It's like you could have the worst team in it, and you can still have a chance of doing something.
yeah, and I mean, and the sky is the limit. Like, it's so endless on things we can do for that little bit of money. Like, it doesn't just have to be, like I said, high score stuff. We can do random games, like I said, just fun little ways to incorporate different ideas. So one thing I would propose is I think I have a risk-free way where we can try it out next season without charging the extra fee to see if it takes on and see if people enjoy it. But if you remember at the start of this season, we took out 4th place as $50 payout, and we talked about what to do with it. We ended up putting it on 1st place's payout.
Mhm.
We could take that right back off the top and goes back to what the original payout was for 1st place. And we can just take that $50 and use it for random prize money for games throughout the course of next season just to
Yeah.
try it.
And the cool thing about it is, the difficult things in the past with doing small side bets, $5 games here or $10 games, was just passing the money around because everybody being spread out. But today's world where you can Zelle or Cash App or Venmo, these little $5 bets here and there, we'll be able to just, oh yeah, you won $20 this week, or you won
Yeah.
$40 this week, or whatever it was, and those can even be paid out, throughout the year, even once we get everybody paid in, try to get everybody paid in at draft day, paid up, and then at that point, the weekly payouts could go out right away. It's real easy to do in today's world. So
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I think it's just a really cool way, like where we can keep people active, and we can even expand on it even more, Jason, and we can make it to where, these people got to send in a video acknowledgement that they won the award that week before they get their payout. So it just creates this interaction where we're getting guys more involved with us, with each other, seeing each other.
yeah, definitely, yeah, it's just more action to the whole league, and not only that, it gives me and you something more to talk about every week.
Exactly.
Like
So here we are late in the season looking for something to talk
3-hour
about. I think we got
videos next year coming to you.
right, exactly. But I mean, but it would be nice though if we were able to break down our episodes. Like our episodes are different. We have maybe 2 episodes a week
Yeah.
where where we're spreading out how we're doing things. Our preview episode kind of touches on who won what last week, and our review for last week, and then our preview is for next week, and you just split everything in half. I think it works out pretty well. We've already kind of started doing that in some of our editing this year. I think next year we'll probably be recording that way.
Yeah, I think it'd definitely add some excitement, keep people involved. Um,
Yeah.
got 18 weeks to work with an entire season. Find ways to use all 18 weeks as much as we can.
Yeah, and then like you said, feel free to, I know you were going to throw a little challenge out to people like, hey, I got whatever on any game against me this year. If you want to put $5 on it, let me know.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can side bet. I mean, it doesn't even have to be cash. It could just be something stupid if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another thing that I'd like to come up with some kind of an idea. Obviously, it's a little late this season to put something together, but we got to come up with some kind of challenge for that last place guy every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that'll be something to think about too. Like, and that'll, maybe some guys can come up with some good ideas. I mean, obviously you see all the classic ones where people are having to sit in IHOP for 24 hours and every eat a pancake.
or if we have a live draft wearing a dress or something. I mean, just something silly. You don't have to be nothing major.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely start putting a thinking cap on for that. I'm sure I'll come up with something silly. You get me thinking about that one too long.
Yeah, that way when we get to that draft, it's where, hey, by the way, for next year, if you're that guy, this is what you're doing.
Yeah,
Plus, that keeps you from tanking too.
it does, and that's again. I mean, I think we're coming up with these ideas, and I think if people just start participating and giving us some feedback, to letting us know that it's okay to start running with some of this stuff, it's just going to make for a lot more excitement.
Yeah, so that's the key thing, guys. Right now is the time. We've talked all year about making changes. This would be nice, that would be nice. We're going to start bringing those up. We got 3 or 4 weeks here as the playoffs are going along. Everything's fresh in our mind. Let's get those changes figured out, get them made, decided on here in about a month. As we go into NFL playoff time, that's when we want to finalize everything. That way, when we start putting draft time together, the new rules, the new changes long before the draft. We talked before in the past. You don't want to make changes at a draft
Yeah.
because it could change somebody's draft board. So make them now. If you got suggestions, get them out there.
That being said, that's kind of the perfect like lead into what I need to say here about keepers. I've had a couple conversations with a few people. I think I got a good idea here. I think we're going to look to lock in our keepers next year or next season 1 hour before the draft.
Definitely, that's the latest the website will let you, because once that draft room opens, it locks everything.
Yeah.
So basically, that's last minute as it gets, and the theory behind that is you got people getting injured in preseason or mini camp or last minute cuts or trades or something like that.
Actually, I'm probably gonna change that. I'm probably gonna try to get a 24 hour.
24.
Yeah, just because I know there's some people that probably would like a little bit more time to do some of their research stuff on that last.
I mean,
When I think like Dan and Mark, guys that are,
yeah. Well, there's not much research to do there. I mean, them guys you're looking at basically just who all's going. I mean, you rank everybody.
yeah, I got you. So we'll see though. But yeah, I mean, but I thought for a minute I might try to push to have those late in the season so everybody knew next year. But
There's so many uncertainties. I mean, heck,
yeah,
what
definitely.
if your keeper retired?
Right.
You know.
Well, just wait 5 years, he'll be back.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So
Maybe.
right. Anyway, but man, I think that's probably good for this week, dude. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we gave everybody a lot to think about. Hopefully, people will actually watch and kind of take some of this to heart, man. Please, I cannot express this enough to just engage in the conversation on the group chat. Like, it's where it all needs to start happening, so we can all start to make these changes for the better. Because we got some fun stuff in store.
Yeah, and definitely the goal next year, one way or another, we're doing a live draft. I mean, it will be on the computer in the draft room, but everybody's going to try to get together, and the goal is try to get all 12.
Yep.
All 12 there. So, and normally now that Daniel comes up in the summertime, it should be a little easier for us to figure that out. So it'd be nice to get everybody together and have a little fun with it.
Yeah, I agree. Those are always good times, and I think this is going to be a pretty important one because I think we're going to be shifting into a new kind of phase in this league, and I think it's going to be good to have everybody on the same page going into it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, dude, I appreciate you kind of working with us. I know we've had a wacky week and a half here trying to get something out, but glad to sit down with you again, man. We'll get back in studio soon.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a little while since we hit some golf balls. About due for some.
I know, dude. I'm getting the itch pretty bad. That's what I was telling you earlier.
It's my weekend off. I should be hitting some golf balls, shouldn't I?
Yeah, really, dude. I mean, it's gonna be snowed in now, so we thought we were gonna be roughing tomorrow, but looks like we're gonna be homeward bound, right?
It's all right. So we'll figure something out to do.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get back over there soon, man. Hopefully next week, and we'll make it happen, Captain.
Right on. Everybody have a great week. 4 teams that are playing. Good luck to you guys. Be interested in watching you guys fight it out to see who I get next.
Good luck, guys. We'll see you next week.